happy to see you this Thursday, February 27th. I'm Carl Azus, and this is the World from A to Z. There's an internationally significant meeting scheduled at the White House tomorrow. U.S. President Donald Trump will be hosting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Since Russia fully invaded Ukraine 3 years ago, the European country has received more support from America than any other nation. The U.S. Congress has authorized more than $100 billion going directly to Ukraine's government in the form of funding, humanitarian aid, weapons, and equipment. But that money was pledged under the Biden administration. Members of the Trump administration have said America should get something in return for its support of Ukraine. In recent days, President Trump and President Zelensky have criticized each other on social media, but it looks like they might have reached a deal. The U.S. would get access to Ukraine's rare earth elements, materials that can be used to make electric car batteries, weapons, wind turbines. And Ukraine would get American help in rebuilding after years of war. This is not a done deal. Ukraine also wants promises it'll be protected if Russia invades again in the future. The U.S. government didn't appear to agree to that. But as the war in Ukraine continues, this meeting between Trump and Zelensky will be closely watched by Ukraine and its allies and Russia and its allies. Okay, next subject, consumer confidence. And you. This is a measure of how Americans feel about their financial situation. If they feel secure in their jobs and income, they might be willing to spend more, stimulating the economy. If they feel worried or insecure, they might spend less, slowing down the economy. 2 new surveys indicate consumer confidence has taken a dip.
The Conference Board's Consumer Confidence Index for February saw its largest monthly decline since August 2021, and the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index dropped to a 15-month low. Michigan's Joanne Shu said tariffs and inflation are top of mind. Stephanie Guichard, senior economist at the Conference Board, says their survey found consumers confident about keeping their job, but less so about finding a new one.
They're just thinking, if I want to change job or if my kid coming out of university needs to look for a job, it's going to be more difficult than it was like 6 months ago.
Economists see consumer actions as more crucial than their feelings.
Consumer spending generates over 2/3 of national GDP. So really, they're the backbone of the economy.
The nation's largest retailer, Walmart, is often seen as a consumer spending bellwether. They said last week their sales will slow this year, a signal that 2025 may be a rocky year for retailers. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Is it constitutional? Before the 22nd Amendment was ratified, the U.S. Constitution had no limits on the number of terms a president could serve. True or false? This is true. Though the Constitution limited the length of presidential terms to 4 years each, it did not initially limit how many terms a leader could serve. On this date in world history, Chile's worst earthquake in 50 years struck on this date in 2010. The quake, measuring magnitude 8.8, was centered just off the nation's west coast, killing more than 500 people, injuring thousands, and triggering tsunami warnings as far away as New Zealand. U.S. presidential term limits were made official on this date in 1951. The Constitution's 22nd Amendment stated a president could only have 2 terms in office, though few had ever tried running a third time. Only Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected more than twice, serving for 12 years during and after the Great Depression. And New Orleans put on what's considered to be its first Mardi Gras celebration on this date in 1827. Students donned costumes and danced their way through the streets on Fat Tuesday, the day before the start of the season of Lent. Mardi Gras became a formal celebration years later and attracts hundreds of thousands of partygoers.
Word it out. French engineer Henri Giffard is best known for what invention, which was demonstrated in 1852? Matches, gyroscope, diesel engine, powered airship. More than half a century before the Wright flyer took off, Giffard demonstrated the first steerable and powered airship.
Despite supersonic planes and high-tech helicopters, the slow and steady idea of the airship just won't die. Actually, experiments with airships came well before powered aircraft. In 1852, Frenchman Henri Giffard flew his lighter-than-air dirigible for 17 miles, the first powered and steerable airship to actually fly. Its lift came from hydrogen gas, and its propeller was powered by a steam engine. Throughout history, airships have been used for exploration, transportation, and promotion. They've even been put to use by the military. We've reported on the Airlander 10, affectionately nicknamed the Flying Bum. It claims bragging rights for being able to lift 7 tons, or in this version, carry 100 passengers. But now there's some competition. Solar Airship One. It's not going for muscle, it's going for endurance, thanks to solar panel skin.
It's electric power. Well, electric power applied at a scale to take an aircraft 40,000 kilometers around the world without having to have recharging infrastructure wherever they land, and to allow them to be flexible in the route that they take, but also be zero emissions en route and be zero harm wherever they go.
Okay, but flying nonstop around the world at only 50 miles per hour is going to take a lot of days and nights. Nights? It's solar power. Well, the solution is to use extra electricity created during the day to make hydrogen for fuel cells. And these can be used to create power after dark. Clever. And so is the double skin design that will have 15 individually managed gas envelopes, allowing the airship to fly in almost any weather. The plan is for 3 people to pilot this behemoth, flying it at an altitude of close to 20,000 feet over 25 countries and 2 oceans. That's ambitious, but the crew includes one guy with some adventuring chops. Bertrand Piccard is the grandson of physicist, balloonist, undersea explorer Auguste Piccard. And here he is with his father, Jacques, also a famous undersea explorer. Bertrand Piccard has already circumnavigated the globe nonstop in a balloon, and he took another lap in a sun-powered plane called...
What is the answer, true or false?
Morris's class, watching from Aloha High School, the Warriors are in Beaverton. And from the bluegrass state of Kentucky, we see Mr. Kendricks and Miss Enlow's students are with us from Boyle County Middle School. Great to see the Eagles in Danville. The humble toothpick has a place in history. It's the oldest known form of toothpicks later. His design now stands on display in the county's administration building. The truth of the matter is, no matter what some say the chatter is, if they pick on you or they nitpick on you, you have to stay slick so it won't stick on you. You've got to stick to, like gum or stick glue, the task or the trick that makes you tick you, and happen to pick like a knack or a nick what gives you a kick that you set out to do. That's all the rhyme we have on the world from A to Z. I'm Carl Azus. It means the world to have you watching.